Seeing as YouTube is rolling out support for streaming with the much newer AV1 codec that Intel's Arc cards support encoding in, I thought I'd take a look at how, well, comparably priced cards do for streaming. Now, this is a bit of an unfair comparison, as NVIDIA's RTX 30 series cards don't support AV1 hardware encoding. But I've tried to level the playing field a little with the settings, and importantly, if NVIDIA wasn't deliberately delaying their lower-end 40 series cards, they could have had a 4060 or even a 4050 out by now that not only performs much better, but also offers AV1 hardware encoding. So that's my excuse. Also, if you're wondering why an AMD card isn't present here, well, I could make a lot of different excuses, but the plain answer is I don't have any comparable cards, and so I can't include them in this test. I have a few of the last generation cards, but I don't think that's a fair comparison, and I don't have any of the 6000 series, and of course AMD is dragging the heels on their 7000 series mid-range cards too, so that's what you get. So let's get into this. The first test I've got is what I would call a realistic best case for the 3060. Using both of the driver's built-in recording functions, the 3060 is recording at in-game resolution, 1440p, at 60 FPS, and with a 30 megabit per second bitrate. The A770 is recording with the AV1 codec, again at 1440p 60, this time at 10 megabits per second. Considering just how efficient AV1 is, I think this is a decent comparison. It's worth noting that Premiere Pro, my video editor of choice, doesn't actually support the AV1 codec yet, so I had to re-render the clips, the AV1 clips, using Handbrake. I rendered them to H264 with the constant quality set to 0, aka lossless, so that shouldn't have added any compression artifacts. It does inflate the file size quite a bit though, by about 3x. One clip went from 100 meg to 300 and another went from 220 to 652 meg, so a fair bit. On the whole, I would actually say that NVENC looks a little better in CSGO here. There isn't much in it, but I would say that it has a slight bit more sharpness to my eye. I will let most of these clips play out so that you can make up your own mind on what this looks like, but I mean, considering the 3060 has triple the bitrate to work with, I'm not all that surprised. You of course could run AV1 at 30 megabits per second if you wanted, although I would argue one of the main benefits of using AV1 is the impressive file size difference. Considering this is using a third of the disk space, it sure doesn't look a third as good. You could bump this up to maybe 15 megabit per second and still have half your file size per recording and get comparable quality. That's not bad. Just to give you a look at a more direct comparison, here is the Cyberpunk built-in benchmark running side by side so you can see how the two compare. Again, I would argue that NVENC looks just a touch sharper here. It's not a massive difference, and I would say they're both plenty good enough, but the edge definitely goes to the 3060 here. The next test is a little more apples to apples. Okay, not quite, but it's definitely closer. Because YouTube is now starting to support streaming via the AV1 encoder, I'm using OBS to record the gameplay. On the Arc card, that is using the QuickSync AV1 at 6 megabit per second, streaming at 1080p 60, and for the 3060, that is your standard NVENC H264, also running at 6 megabits per second and 1080p 60. Here is CSGO again, and I would say that NVENC looks a decent bit better. I mean, neither are great, but the Arc card definitely offers a more blocky and less sharp experience. If I'm being honest, when I started testing for this video, I kind of expected this to be a clear win for Intel and the AV1 codec, but it kind of looks like it's, well, the exact opposite. I think the A770 looks a touch better in Cyberpunk. It's still pretty close, but I see a little more blockiness in the NVENC recording. If I freeze frame when the door opens, you can see what I mean. While the AV1 clip isn't perfect, it is sharper and less blocky compared to the NVENC clip. Again, I'll let these play out so you can see for yourself. To get the most out of the AV1 codec, it seems like you need to turn the bitrate all the way down. Recording at just 3.5 megabits per second, even in CSGO, the quality swings in favour of AV1. It's pretty night and day really, with NVENC offering an incredibly blocky image, especially with fast motion, compared to a still compromised but considerably sharper image from the ARC card. If you don't have great upload speed at home and need to stream at a lower bitrate, it sure looks like AV1 is a much better fit. The same goes for Cyberpunk, where again, while the AV1 clip isn't exactly top quality, it is considerably sharper and less distorted than the NVENC clip. Details are preserved a lot better in the AV1 clip, you get sharper lines and overall better looking image. Again, I'll let this play out so you can see for yourself. So all in then, the AV1 codec is clearly a more efficient codec for you to try. It isn't quite as impressive as H265, but considering platforms like YouTube are now accepting AV1 streams, I would say that especially if you're on a lower bitrate, if you can, definitely give it a shot. These ARC cards are a great choice for that, at least until we get some more mid-range NVIDIA cards with hardware encoding built in. For higher bit rates, there's a lot less of a difference. Although for recording, you can cut your file sizes like in half. Although it is worth noting that since most video editors don't support importing or exporting AV1 footage yet, you might be better off sticking with H265 instead, which ends up being a bit better of a kind of experience anyway, and which all cards do support recording to, and most video editors support fully. So that is a quick look at sort of ARC versus NVIDIA and AV1 versus NVENC. If you want to see more videos like this one, maybe some further testing, I have realized that there's a slightly better way for me to do this sort of testing that would allow me to use Netflix's VMAF tool as well. So if you're interested in seeing that, let me know in the comments, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification icon. I would also love to hear your thoughts on the two codecs and the two sort of cards in the comments. Love to hear your thoughts there. If you want to check out more videos like this one, including the ARC A770, specifically the Acer Bifrost, their first graphics card review, that'll be on the end cards for you to check out. And yeah, if you want to support me and the channel, you can do so through YouTube itself, Patreon, pick up a hoodie or t-shirt like this one, or there's a load of other affiliate links and stuff in the description that don't cost you anything extra to use, but do massively help me out when you do use them. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next video.